Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Microphone's not. Good evening. Good evening. I try my outside voice. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We will call to order our regular. I'm sorry, it's not working. Doesn't work. Not working.
Testing. Nope.
They're not working. Now they are.
Good evening.
Now we got feedback.
Welcome to the regular Board of Trustees meeting Tuesday, April the 7th, 2020. We'll officially call this meeting to order at 7:07 p.m. If you could stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Trustee Hadnot,
Here.
Trustee Roll,
Here.
Trustee Taylor,
Present.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Brown,
Here.
Trustee Mosley.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. I need a motion to approve the record minutes of March 16, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Roll,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Public comments limited to 3 minutes for agenda. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Barbara Elmore at 505 Dorchester Avenue. I'd like to speak on behalf I would like to speak on my behalf regarding my bid request. Friendly reminder, I live in this village. 3 of my workers live in this community. We give back to this community financially by supporting all the businesses daily. Also, Elmore's has successfully serviced and helped beautify this community without fail. I provided a copy of the RFP for those who didn't get a chance to view it before. I had been watching to see if it would go out in February. I finally called the village March 4th or 5th, only to find out it was out on the 1st and due March 9th. No notice to current bidders like in times past. I didn't fully understand the village lots described as small, medium, and large, but I had to work through it, and I did find a way. Normally, there is a required bid meeting where you can ask questions and get instructions, such as stated on the website, on the village website. I submitted a copy of that to you as well. I did what was stated in the RSP for the most part. I just included details that protected myself as well as the village of Glenwood that were not mentioned. I have residential businesses, commercial, and municipalities experience for 15 plus years. Glenwood is my only village, and that's by choice. I'm an elected official on my 3rd term at the Glenwood Library. With this, I know a host of mayors, trustees, residents. I could easily acquire other villages. I have never applied. I have chosen to focus on the village in which I reside. It has pleasured myself and my crew to help beautify our own community. The one thing the secretary didn't fully list, as I asked, was Elmore's equipment. That's in the packet as well. We have 5 zero-turn 60-inch mowers, 4 sit-down, 1 stander, 3 trucks, one of which is a dump truck, 2 trailers, whackers, edgers, blowers, trimmers. All those are in the pictures. I listed the vacant houses under nuisance abatement because I saw no place for vacants that I was sure of on the RFP. I went up from $50 per house to $60 per house, $10 more from 3 years ago. The bids 3 years ago were in the 2,000 range, the 3,000 range, and the 4,000 range. I'm still in the 3,000 range 3 years later. My last approved bid was $3,100 weekly. My current asking price is $37,000, a difference of only $600 in 3 years going on 4. Within those 3 years, I did not receive or assess a cost of living increase of any kind to the village of Glenwood. I simply could not bid the same thing I did 3 years ago. It just wasn't feasible, especially with what's happening with the economy.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Elmore.
Mhm.
Time is up.
Okay, I'll finish a little later, if that's possible.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other public comments, agenda items? Okay. Bills payable, Jansen.
Thank you, everyone. Bills payable for April 2nd, 2026. Corporate fund, $130,165.80. Motor fuel tax fund, $3,330.47. Water account, $198,405.91. TIF Industrial Park, $2,687.50. TIF Main Street, $3,198.75. Glenwood Golf Course, $35,501.87. TIF Halsted North, $53.75. And TIF Halsted South, $7,661.77, for a total of all funds of $381,005.82.
Thank you. A motion for bills payable April 2nd, 2020. Total all funds, $381,005.08.
I'll make that motion.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Yes.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed. Jansen, payroll.
We had 3 payrolls since the last board meeting. So for the first one, payroll check dated March 20th, 2026, administrative, $19,597.33. Public Works, $11,820.86. Police Department, $121,405.15. Fire Department, $23,840.81. Senior Center, $259.50. Elected positions, $6,094.96. Sewer and Water, $21,953.01. Glenwood Golf Course, $12,754.18, for a total payroll of $217,725.80. We did have reimbursables in this time frame of $354.16, so it brings the grand total payroll down to $217,371.64 for March 20th.
Thank you. Also, with March 20th, 2026 payroll, you had overtime hours of 206 and that total amount was $13,213.33. I'm looking for a motion for payroll for check date March 20, 2026 for $217,371.64.
So moved. Second.
Any questions?
I have a question. How does one police officer have 88 hours of overtime? Is this in the regular, and this I'm assuming is a regular pay cycle?
I know the officer you're speaking of, during the pay period, he was activated for a major crimes call out for outside another town, which probably contributed to a bit of that. He also works open patrol shifts that are available.
I mean, so you got about 7 or 8 people that have overtime, give or take, and then you have a barrage of officers that have nothing, like zero overtime. Is it possible, I mean, is that volunteer overtime? I mean, you just said he had some assignments, but that's a lot, 88 hours of overtime. Some have nothing, 4 hours, 19 hours, 47 hours, 40 hours, but 88 hours and 67 cents, and that's just a lot to me.
So the overtime is bid on by seniority per contract, so it's all available to all union members in line with the contract. And this particular officer, I said, is assigned to the investigation of it. So there's the homicide, we are part of the South Florida Major Crimes Task Force. We are obligated to attend that. So when the agency activates, when we activate, we're guaranteed the task force will be staffed, the investigation will work until they exhaust all needs or until 7 days have expired, at which time they could petition to keep the activation going. But the officer who, several officers who take it normally are volunteering for it, or the other option is it was pulled out between all the officers. Most likely, some of them would be forced overtime if they didn't want. What we have right now is officers, for one reason or other, want to work the overtime. They're doing so voluntarily, without forcing the others who might not want it to be forced to work.
Is he the only officer on that task force, or are there other officers? Is
Other officers.
one other officer on it?
It's not, being on that task force is not something where we assign any officers.
Yeah.
Certain criteria to be met before the community can settle.
Okay, because I'm just looking at $89,000 okay,
Okay,
That's fine.
any other questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Rowe,
yes.
Trustee Brown,
I mean, it's a no, but it's a yes because it's already been paid, so, I mean,
Either yes or no?
no.
Okay.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Rowe.
Thank you. Motion passed. Jensen.
The second payroll was it's a retro payout for the collective bargaining agreement for the police department. It was check dated March 27, 2026. Police department was the only amount for $134,531.09.
Okay, motion for payroll for March 27, $134,531.00.
Second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Just one question. That is the payroll, the retro pay for the collective bargaining agreement, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Any other questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Rowe,
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Thank you. Motion passed. Jensen.
The final payroll for April 3rd, check date April 3rd of 2026, administrative, $19,022.56. Public Works, $11,785.80. Police Department, $111,435.17. Fire Department, $24,791 even. Senior Center, $259.50. Elected positions, $1,071.30. Sewer and Water, $21,887.90. Glenwood Golf Course, $14,307.81. Total payroll was $204,561.04. We did not have any reimbursable, so that is the grand total payroll.
Payroll for April the 3rd, overtime hours was 313.5 hours, and that was a total payout of $20,915. Like a motion for payroll date April 3rd, $204,561.04.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Roll,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yeah.
Your motion pass. You have these for the swearing in. We can call up Deputy Fire Chief Joe McClellan. We can call up Deputy Fire Chief or the swearing in. This one. We don't have the swearing in papers. You know about it? We'll make it up. Yes, please. And the fire commission is here. It's the police and fire commission house. Leon, would you like to come in? Okay. I'll do this. Leon, did you want to come up and say something? Did you want to come up and say anything, Leon? On behalf of the Police and Fire Commission. My apologies that we didn't have the sworn in document. Oh, yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How unusual it is that I'm speaking. It is a pleasure to welcome our new Deputy Fire Chief, and I had an opportunity to meet Mr. McClellan, and his experience is superb. And he's going to be a welcome addition to the fire department, and I've talked to the chief, and they're just compatible. So it's my pleasure to welcome our new Deputy Fire Chief. And as soon as we get the documents, the mayor is going to install you. And we want to welcome your family. I met your family in the parking lot. And I want to say thank them for coming to witness this occasion. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to the mayor. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out for this occasion. Those of you who made a special trip, I just wanted to say real quick, Deputy Chief McClellan began with the Glenwood Fire Department back on February 18th. And in those 6 weeks, he and I have worked on policy and procedure review and implementation and improvements on our training program and grant writing. We've written 13 grants so far. No matches, so we don't need approvals yet. We're waiting on, we'll be waiting on results of that once they get read. So we're hopeful for getting some new equipment and working to improve our operations and have a fire department that everybody can continue to be proud of. Couldn't be happier to have Joe by my side as we move forward on this journey. So thank you and welcome aboard again. And hopefully we can get some cars approved tonight so he'll keep coming back to work.
I don't have to do that one. Okay. Can Darius Jones come forward? No. Raise your right hand. State of Illinois, County of Cook. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear and affirm
I do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of appointment to the Planning and Commission Zone
and I
Board
will
of
faithfully,
Appeals. The Planning and Commission Zoning Board,
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
the Planning Commission and Zoning Board
The Planning Commission and Zoning Board
of Appeals.
of Appeals.
Okay, congratulations. Okay, thank you. Welcome aboard. Eugenia White. Good evening. State of Illinois, County of Cook. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear and affirm
I do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Economic Development Committee.
I will faithfully
discharge the duties of the
discharge
office,
the duties of
the Economic Development Committee
Economic Development Committee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you so very much, and that we will make sure that that everyone get their certificates and sign it with the required training later. And again, we apologize for that oversight and not having the documents with us. Attorney report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The
First item on the attorney report is the proposed ordinance number 2026-006, an ordinance amending Chapter 102, Article 11 of the Code of Ordinance of the Village of Glenwood regarding handicap parking within the village. This ordinance would update certain provisions or one section of the village code regarding handicap parking and designating how you designate a handicap parking zone in front of a residential place.
JR.
Yes, thank you. This ordinance came about as a part of a review of our handicap parking ordinance. This ordinance creates a mechanism whereby a resident who has a state-approved handicap placard or handicap license plate can petition the village via an application process to have a handicap parking sign placed in front of their home, so that to make those accommodations for that person to enter and exit their home and be able to park in front of their home and have that designated area. The ordinance will allow police to ticket vehicles that are parked improperly within the bounds of that handicap parking sign. And so that is the intent behind this ordinance, to tighten that up and afford those accommodations for our residents who have been made those accommodations by this.
Have a motion for approval, ordinance number 2026-006.
So moved. I'll second.
Any questions?
I have a question. I've seen many of the handicap spaces in front of people's homes, and I've seen like the space for like one car, and I've seen a large space for like two cars. And I just want to know if two people living there are handicapped, do they get two signs, or do they get a sign to park two cars? And because everybody has driveways, or whatever the case may be, how is the distance between if they're two living versus one?
So it would be one parking space per application, and it would be one application per vehicle. So if you have handicap plates on one primary vehicle, you would fill out an application for that. If the spouse also happens to be handicapped and they wanted to request a second space in front of their house, that would be a separate application process for that one. That would go through that review.
Is there a limit?
Ross, I don't believe there's a limit in here. It's in other communities, I haven't seen it become an issue where people are trying to stack them up in front of their house, but.
And there would be a limit in terms of how big someone's the front of their home would be, right? You couldn't request a spot in your neighbor's spot, in front of your neighbors necessarily.
I've heard crazier things.
It's
but
really
okay.
designed so it could be as close to
Your
your
house.
door as your home,
Possible.
because that's, as possible. Because when you're handicapped, there's, like, if you wanted to limit the distance travel. Spots may be, you may be seeing bigger spots, as Justin mentioned briefly. If it's bigger cars, different equipment, depends on the disability, what's at issue. But these would generally be standard parking spots for one single car.
Any other questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Roll,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
I forget, Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion pass.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is proposed ordinance number 2026-007, an ordinance amending Chapter 102 vehicles, Article 3, abandoned vehicles, towing of vehicles, Article 11, stopping, standing, and parking of the Code of Ordinances of the Village of Glenwood regarding non-resident overnight parking on residential streets within the village. The proposal in this ordinance modifies different sections within the village code to strengthen and update and clarify the village's current overnight parking restrictions for village residents and the requirement to have a village vehicle sticker. It also empowers the police department to do, it declares overnight vehicles that are not registered with the village to be summary nuisance vehicles. There's reports of issues that the village administrator can speak to in certain areas. So if you have a guest, you would just call the current number that exists to say that you have a guest staying over, so they don't need to get a sticker or worry, but it's unregistered, unknown vehicles being parked in residential areas overnight that don't have vehicle stickers, sometimes aren't registered to the right person with the state, or otherwise this empowers the police department to, and code enforcement to take immediate action, have the person actually responsible for the vehicle then come to the village and show themselves as who they are.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Russ summed that one up pretty well. This ordinance, this ordinance recommendation comes about as a result of listening to the community and feedback about vehicles parked on the street overnight, especially, or in particular, vehicles that do not display valid village or village vehicle stickers. This ordinance tightens up some of those mechanisms and enforcement mechanisms for the police department. It creates the ability to ticket and in some instances tow those vehicles on a faster timeline. It also creates a no parking zone on 192nd Street from Champlain to Cottage Grove, as there have been a number of complaints about the narrowness of that street, people parking on that street as opposed to in the parking lots that are there for the condo buildings. So this just kind of, again, tightens up some of the code we already had in place and creates more enforcement mechanism for the police department, try and solve some of these complaints that we have heard coming through here over the last 10 months.
Motion for ordinance number 2026-007.
So move.
Any questions? Yes. For the public, it'll be after public comments. Mhm.
So I have more of a comment than a question. I'm thinking of public safety as I drive through the streets, and I'd like to ask both Chief Welsh and Chief Petticord how this affects public safety, because I have trouble sometimes navigating between cars parked on both sides of the. So is it possible we can go even further and maybe only have parking on one side of the street? No.
That's a comment trustee had not.
Right.
Ordinance can be amended as needed.
That's it.
Okay.
I'm done. One side of the street?
Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Rowe,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Finally, as part of the attorney report would be proposed ordinance 2026-008, an ordinance amending Chapter 82 Solid Waste, Article 5 Refuse, Garbage, Debris, and Garbage Collection of the Code and Ordinances of the Village of Glenwood regarding refuse, garbage, debris, and garbage containers in the village. Essentially, this modifies the current, updates, and consolidates the current section, Section 82-200 of the Village Code, regarding when garbage containers can be left outside in front of one's home. This clarifies and makes it so that you can leave your garbage container outside no earlier than 4 p.m. on the day before the scheduled collection day, and then it would be required to be put back away by noon on the day after garbage collection day. This gives people time to, if they're working late or something on, I believe it's Tuesdays was normal garbage day, then on Wednesday, if you're working late, you don't have to get it in by first thing Wednesday morning, but if you come home, you have, like, if you work at a hospital or something, you work overnight, you come home, so by noon, you're bringing it in. That's way, essentially, how it is now, my understanding is people can leave it out basically all day Wednesday as well, which then means there's no code enforcement around when the time is up, so that basically people can then leave it till Thursday. So you're basically being able to leave out garbage cans most of the week. So this would just make it so that it gives reasonable amount of time to still bring it in, everything in, especially with work schedules, accommodating that. But it does limit, it sets it at noon so that if there is an issue, someone at the village will be around on Wednesday, Wednesday afternoon to look in.
Can I get a motion for ordinance number 2026-008? Any questions?
I have a question. How will the residents be notified of this ordinance?
We will get notification out there via our Facebook page, the normal avenues that we're using. Our Facebook page, we can include something in the water bills. We can have a discussion about, postponing the enforcement until proper notification is given to residents, but we'll use the same avenues. Like the Facebook page, we can talk to the chief about utilizing their text messaging program, use the water bills, all of the avenues that we've been using to get word out about any other updates we've kind of been going through.
And this ordinance is effective immediately?
It is effective immediately. However, given that particular situation where we would like to notify residents that this is what's gone in place, we can definitely suspend enforcement of it for 30.
That we wouldn't initially issue. If we go and see, then it would be the inspector's responsibility to let the residents know, so they'll know for the next month. So if they came and you were in violation, you wouldn't get a ticket, and you would get that notification. If we come back next month, you'll get it.
But in general, information will be disseminated to residents in a,
Yes, in the manner in which the village admin.
I would like to request, if possible, if we do pass this ordinance tonight, that we give the residents 30 days notice. That
Absolutely.
when you, create an ordinance, you want to give them time for notification and or adjustment for this new ordinance that could be.
And respectfully, naturally, that when we amended ordinance, so this is just coming up. Village administrator indicated was due to the complaints and us initially saying that we would look at all of the ordinance and do the revisions. So these are actually timeframes and to update so that they know. So the meat of the ordinance hasn't changed, it's just giving you deadlines, but absolutely they could get notice.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's what we
That's what we
said.
just
So
said.
for the first time, right, so then that's for the month, and I concur, that is 30 days. Mhm. Any other questions?
I have a question. What is the citation? How much is that?
I don't know, is it in the ordinance?
It's $50.
So
It's the same, everything is the same as what currently exists. Only difference is this moves the time from 5 PM Wednesday. Everything else is exactly what's on the books currently.
I mean, but if you never broke the ordinance, you really wouldn't know how much it was. That's why I'm asking for the people that I didn't know how much it was, even if there was an old ordinance, because I just haven't gone through all the ordinances as a resident guilty, but I needed to know so I can tell my mother and I can tell my sister and I can tell my son. It's us too. It's not just you all. When we say, can we give them 30-day notice? Can we give us? It's all of us. And so my question is, with the lack of police, et cetera, I don't know who's going to give the citation, fire or police. Well, with the lack of employees, somebody leaves their garbage can out to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, for example. They didn't get one. But then somebody else is going to say, I got one. I left mine out by 12:30. I got a citation. So we just need to be able to enforce it well. This is just a statement. And we just need to be able to communicate it well. And we need to be able to give us some grace.
Thank you, trustee.
You're welcome.
Call the roll.
Trustee Mosley? Trustee Roll?
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
yes.
Trustee Williams?
Village administrator.
Thank you. Just a couple of items tonight, some that are on the agenda for action and some just as updates. There is a resolution on the agenda to accept a deed in lieu of foreclosure for vacant land located at 23 North Wabash. If the board remembers, last summer, we tore down this dilapidated house at 23 North Wabash. The bank or the current lien holder of the property would like to deed that property to the village in lieu of us going through the process of foreclosing on our lien and then having to go through the legal process of taking that property. So passage of this resolution would allow us to accept that deed of foreclosure. I have been in touch with one of the neighbors adjacent to that property who from the very beginning showed an interest in purchasing that property once it came under village control so that they could build a new structure, a new home on that property. So I will re-engage with that person if this resolution passes tonight and the village does take ownership of this property. And in the future, we'll come back for any negotiated sale of that property to this individual. But just to give the board an update, that is kind of the plan going forward based on the conversations I've had with that resident as this process has played itself out. The second thing I want to touch on really quickly and just let the board know, as the board is probably aware in discussions over the last few meetings with the tower point agreements and the cell phone leases, board is aware, you all passed, approved the sale of the first lease, I believe, at the last meeting. That is closed. That was the larger of the two leases. The village has received the funds from that one. There has been a holdup on the second one, which we've been trying to negotiate and navigate, and that was that in the process of doing the due diligence, it was discovered that the current lessee, which is AT&T, has not paid the village rent in over 6 years. And so we had to find the right person at AT&T's commercial leasing department, ask them, if they were aware that they hadn't paid rent, and then on their end, they had to sort that out and work through their channels. So I just got an update yesterday that they're finalizing what they believe the number is. Our estimation is that it's about $180,000 the village will be receiving in back rent. Once that check comes through from AT&T, then we can move forward with the paperwork to bring to the board for the closure of that lease as well. So I just wanted to give an update on that because I know it was a little confusing that we split those there at the end, but that was the reasoning why. Give the board and the village an update on our favorite summer topic, which is the closure or restriction of traffic on the bridge between Main Street and Chicago Heights Glenwood Road, 187th Street. As I'm sure everybody noticed this morning, as of this morning, the bridge is once again down to westbound traffic only. Village engineer Dave Schilling and I had a conversation yesterday with the contractors and those associated with the project. So I want to give everybody an update because this should be, fingers crossed, the last summer that we have to deal with this, but there will be a couple of different closures associated with the construction this summer. So the first phase, which happened this morning, is the westbound traffic only detour, which should be completed around the first week of June. Once that portion of it is completed, the next phase will commence immediately, the bridge itself will be reopened to two-way traffic, but 187th Street from the Glenwood Academy entrance, at Main Street there to Pleasant will once again be closed as they do road work there and resurface that portion of the road. That will probably take another 6 to 8 weeks and should be done by the beginning of August. The final portion of this timeline is a little bit up in the air because there's some IDOT work that's going to go along with it. It will only impact anybody traveling southbound from the intersection over the bridge towards Holbrook Road. That bridge will be closed probably sometime in August or September while they finish that work. So there's several detours or closures that will happen over the course of this summer. We, engineer and I, have gone back and forth with the contractor. We've expressed the village's displeasure and disappointment many times. We made sure that it was imperative we got a pretty solid timeline so that we could report to the village, rather than just say, well, it should be done sometime this summer. This is the timeline that they've given us, and that, God willing, with no hiccups, that they'll be able to stick to. So that's the update on the bridge. Fire chief and I had a conversation earlier this week, or actually, I guess it was last week, with the folks that are in charge of running the farm stand and the farmland over there in response to the numerous complaints that we've received, not only here at the board meetings, but that my office gets on a near daily basis about the smell when there is a smell coming from the farmland. And so it was a productive conversation. You know, quite frankly, the organization is experimenting with some different fertilizer techniques. They did assure us that it is not manure based. There's no manure involved in the fertilizer whatsoever. The process involves using vegetable waste and mixing it with carbon. And they have assured us that if we keep on top of them and let them know when the smell is out there and when especially in the point that it can be smelt. And I know the chief is kind of monitoring this on a daily basis now. He's narrowed it down pretty much to whenever the wind's coming out of the south is when you guys can smell it. But they've let us know if we kind of keep on top of them, they will continue refining, their processes and what they do. They want to be a good partner with the village and with the residents. They have offered to come to a village board meeting to discuss what it is that they're doing out there. Their initiative and their project is actually pretty cool. They're expanding farming into communities that don't have access to organic vegetables. And they've also offered to come to the Brookwood Point Homeowners Association meeting to deliver those same informational bits. There will be some information here at Village Hall that will be available to residents. So we're on top of them. The good news there is we actually have had productive conversations and have contacts there now. And we'll just, kind of continue to monitor it and see how it develops.
Village
Three,
Administrator, before you go on.
yes.
I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted him to slow down a little bit because it's going really fast. And the question I wanted to ask him, he's already passed it. Okay.
Three other things very quickly. The first is there's an item on the agenda tonight to approve a proposal from Micah Locksmiths for access control at Village Hall, the 3 field houses, the Blakey Center, and the concession stand for the athletics field. This has basically come out of, when I came in, I was handed a Ziploc bag full of keys and a loose leaf sheet of paper with some names written on it to who has keys to all of the various village facilities. There have been some issues lately with people accessing village facilities, whether it be the concession stand or the field houses, without notifying anybody at Village Hall. We don't have a good feel for who has been given keys in the past or who may have keys to these facilities. And so, given the fact that we have some ARPA fundings that was set aside for remodels and things like that, we went and got a proposal to put electronic access control on those buildings. So what that will look like is anybody that needs access for whatever reason will be given a key card. Their key card will be programmed so that they can access the building only during the hours and days that they need access to it. And it will also create an electronic log every time somebody swipes their key card so we can go back and see who's coming in and out of our facilities. So that if there are incidents in the future, we can go back and review those key log entries and see, who we need to hold liable for damaging or leaving a mess in village facilities. So I would ask that that the board approve that proposal this evening. Second to last is was on the agenda 3 weeks ago. The enterprise car lease for 5 new vehicles, 4 of which would be for the fire department, 1 which would be for the police department. I've sent 2 pretty lengthy emails to the board about this, kind of outlining the costs associated with it, the advantages to doing it. If you haven't had an opportunity to read that email, I will just summarize very quickly. In doing a review of the village's current fleet, the average age of our vehicles is roughly 19 and a half years. We have a vehicle at the fire department right now that I believe the chief has put a stop sign over the floor to cover up a hole that's rusted through the floor. We have a vehicle at the fire department right now that has an engine that is no longer functioning. The chief drove his personal vehicle to work a few weeks ago because of these issues that they're facing over there with vehicles. And as a part of this enterprise fleet management program, the goal is we work with enterprise to bring in new vehicles and cycle them back out before they start costing money and maintenance. And where enterprise is incentivized to do that is as a part of the monthly lease payment, we pay them a $100 fee, a little over a $100 fee, and that's a full coverage on maintenance for these vehicles for the lifetime of the lease. And so what that means is if something goes wrong mechanically with the vehicle, we take it to the shop, the bill gets sent to Enterprise. And so they're incentivized to help us get out of those vehicles before they start costing money on the maintenance side. And the goal would be over the course of the next 5 or 6 years to obviously, if finances allow for it, to bring the whole village in line with this, so that we're just turning over and getting out of these cars before they're costing us money. But as I sent the board yesterday, these 4 vehicles that we're looking to replace at the fire department, they're costing us on average about $18,000 a year in maintenance, just maintenance alone for these 4 vehicles. We're talking about 2 2011s, a 2013, and a 2015. So I would ask the board to approve this agreement this evening. I sent both of the agreements yesterday that list the cost associated with the 4 fire department vehicles and the 1 police department vehicle. And then finally, the only other item that's on the agenda tonight is the recommendation for the lawn care bid, which I sent an email to the board earlier this afternoon about, as well as left a physical copy on your desks to review anything that had come up with that. So with that, that concludes my report.
I have several questions. That's why I wanted to just do it as you were speaking.
Regarding the report part, the other questions we would go during
I can't.
the
what did you say?
motions. The questions, you have questions regarding what he reported out, the other questions that we'll take them in the order that we call for a motion.
Okay.
Okay. You had a question regarding his report, or?
Yeah, I got a question regarding what he just said, and then about the locksmith, and then about AT&T. So how do you want me to ask those questions?
The question about AT&T.
The question about AT&T, who is responsible for us, for the village not knowing that a vendor said AT&T had not paid us for 6 years? How do we miss that?
I can't speak to that because I was not here. I will tell you that there was a sale of the tower to the village in 2015, I believe it was. And as a part of that sale, there was an agreement that their rent would be abated until a certain dollar amount was reached, potential rent revenue. And they just never started paying again. And so that would have been around 2020. I'm going to guess COVID had something to do with it. But the fact of the matter is they have not paid their rent on that tower since 2020, sometime in 2020. And we're using it actively. And so we have identified it going through this process and are working to correct it and get our money back from AT&T.
Okay, so in the future, if you need a contact at AT&T to help get some money from AT&T, I work for AT&T. All you got to do is call me, and I'll give you the person's name that you need, so you don't have to look for it, because I know exactly who some of those people are. Because there's no way that we should, I don't even want to go there. They have way more money than all of us do put together, and we should have been paid, period.
Agreed.
Okay.
Huh? Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's the one question about AT&T. I have a couple questions about the Micah
Okay,
locksmith.
we'll get to that one
We
when
will
we
get
get
to
to the
that one.
motion. Okay.
Okay. There you go.
Asking for a motion for approval of resolution 2026-003.
I'll second.
Any questions? No questions, clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Rowe,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed. I'm seeking a motion for, to award the 2026 lawn care service contracts to Hall and Son Landscape Snow Removal as the lowest responsible and responsive bidding in accordance with the submitted proposal and staff recommendations.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Questions?
I got a question. So are we focusing on, or are you, since it's your recommendation, I'm sorry, village administrator, are you focusing on who's cheaper? Or are we focusing on the the longevity of the current service that we have? I mean, and you said also about more responsive. So did Elmore's Lawn Care miss the deadline, or just the other person bid it before she did? Because I don't understand the most responsive.
Neither of those are true.
Okay.
As I said in my email this afternoon, both bids were received before the deadline. What we focused on was a variety of things. Price was certainly first and foremost, in an effort to spend the taxpayers' dollars as responsibly as possible. Once we identified the base costs and ancillary costs associated with proposals, we then also looked at the rest of the packets the packet that was submitted. And with respect to some of the things that I highlighted in my email, references, equipment lists, references and equipment lists, other documents that were included with their submittals as well. And so all of that would have played in if all things were equal, but pricing certainly was the first factor.
So when you reference your email was sent at 4:39 this afternoon. This is the one you're talking about, right? I was still working at 4:39. I didn't get here to close to after 6. So I didn't get a chance to decipher everything that you put into your email. But again, your focus, it seems like it's price. I think that on one proposal we see that Elmore's Lawn Service has broken down. Let's say that, I don't know what small, medium, and large lots look like because I don't know the square footage. Now, she didn't include the square footage of that, yet, excuse me, Hall and Sons just said lot cuts, I guess across the board, are $50. So if it's a large lot, whatever we deem a large lot is, he's gonna do $50. If there's a really small lot, he's gonna do $50. And if there's a medium lot or ginormous lot, whatever that means, he's just going to do $50. It would have been nice. Is he here tonight?
I believe he is. I've never met him. I spoke to him over the phone, and he indicated that he would be here this evening. If Mr. Hall, are you here this evening?
No. Okay. So he's not here. Okay. I go ahead.
We're turning down a vendor that we have had for a number of years, going to a new vendor. How do we know he's able to accomplish this, what I need for the price of these bids? Now, I took a look of the price of existing vendor that we had. It only changed $600 for 4 years. If I'm looking at this correctly, okay? So I'm looking at this other guy, and I called a couple other vendors in the area, and I gave them the same numbers. They didn't do it. And so I'm saying that maybe we need to take a better look at this.
So,
Okay? So like I said, I called 4 other vendors, spoke to them, and I gave them the figures that we had here. And none of them told me they could do it for that price. So what makes us think that this guy that we have not worked with in the past is going to be able to come here and do a job on something that somebody's been doing for the last 15 years?
So to speak to your first part, how much a contract has increased over the prior years is not a factor. The factor in this was the proposal submitted for the 2026 lawn care program. And as a matter of fact, the two proposals were, and I actually had a typo in my email to you that I've updated here, about $3,700 a month apart. So my determination in making my recommendation to the mayor and the board was to save the village $3,700 a month with all other things being equal. Now, if this was two guys, a pickup truck and a lawnmower, it would have been a different conversation, but this company also provided substantial references, in particular, a mayor of another community, a public works or a deputy public works director of a neighboring community, and a company that employed them as subcontractors in the past for other municipal work. And so, in my opinion, they've submitted a bid for a weekly amount for the properties that were given in the proposal. That is the bid that they've submitted to us. They have done their homework on it and submitted this price based on what they've done. They're going to complete the work for that price. That's how this process works. As far as knowing their ability to do the work or not, I'm basing that on the references that were submitted, taking a look at the equipment list that was submitted and all of that. Again, it came down to primarily $3,700 a month was the difference between these two contracts. When you figure we've probably got 5, maybe 6 months of grass cutting, you're talking, upwards of $20,000 in difference between contracts. And so that was where my recommendation led us.
So for $20,000 more a year, we're gonna lose, actually 4 payrolls of residents of this town. The people that live in this town, pay taxes in this town. Hey, to me, this is bad hustle, when the current people we have, when they're doing something that is wrong, we don't like, just walk up and knock on the door.
So, yeah, Trustee Williams,
I'm just looking in general.
and in my determination, I didn't inquire whether employees of either company lived within the village or not. I strictly made my decision based on the two proposals that.
And I understand it, but I have to take a look at people who it's gonna affect. Okay, so that means that some people got a job today who lives here in this town, they pay taxes, they pay this town. Okay, won't have that job with the decision that we might make.
May I ask?
How do we benefit? As a group and as a town, as a community? You want to try to keep your money inside this community where we live at. This is where we live. These people are our neighbors. We know these people. These kids, some of these kids, we hired them when they were 16, 17 years old to work for this town. We've been knowing them all their life. And now we're going to say for a measly $20,000 a year with the amount of money that we have to spend, we're going to tell them you can no longer work for us in the town that you grew up in, that you went to school in.
So,
But we're going to save $20,000. That's all I have to say about it.
may I?
I have a,
Trustee Brown, Trustee Roll is next.
oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to ask a question. We had a chance to hear from Ms. Elmore. I guess one of my questions for Mr. Hall, how many other contracts or lines of business does he have? I ask that because if you're too busy to fit us in with this being a new venture for him with the village, right? How many customers do you have? So Miss Elmore told us that she doesn't have that many clients, that we've kind of been her prime customer, in addition to some of the other things. I guess that would be one question that I would have for that vendor. And my second question is, was there an issue with her service that we felt that we needed to?
No, just to answer your second question first, there was no issue, as the mayor has been stating since she took office and since I've been, reporting for almost 11 months now to the board. We have been conducting, as necessary, a review of policies, procedures, ordinances, and contracts that the village has. There was not a current, that contract expired on December 31st of 2025. And so for us to enter into a new agreement this year, we needed to go out and solicit proposals for it. There are other contracts that will be, and proposals that will be coming forth to the board on contracts that have been expired for longer. None of this has anything to do with past performance. As I said to, I believe it was Trustee Taylor or Trustee Williams' question, my decision was based solely on the two proposals that I had in front of me for the year 2026. It had nothing to do with prior experience, prior involvement with the village, or any other factors.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
Trustee Brown, you had a question?
sure. The spring, I don't know if it's proper to ask the question to Ms. Elmore or just you
No, just to.
okay, JR.
Finish.
Okay. I'm looking at the spring cleanup for leaves and debris from April to May is 1,500. I'm also looking at the fall cleanup is 2,500. I'm assuming that that is in addition to the weekly base cut of 3,700. Is that, that's part A. That's my first question.
That's my understanding.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not clear about the fuel surcharge policy. I don't know where that comes in. Do we pay for fuel?
No, so based on the language in the proposal, and it's item number 4 in that particular proposal, there is under that proposal, there was a fuel surcharge policy instituted, which says the pricing assumes $2.75 per gallon. And if the price of a gallon of fuel exceeds that, there are different steps that will be added on to our weekly cost, up to and including a $175 weekly surcharge if gas is over $4 a gallon. In my note that I included to the board, I took a look at 3 gas stations within the village of Glenwood this afternoon. All of them are $4.15 or higher, and I don't think that's going lower anytime soon, given what's going on with the global economy and the oil markets right now. So that was just another, item I wanted to flag for the board as we have this discussion, is that's almost going to guarantee an extra $700 a month in addition to what the base price that was submitted was.
Okay, this is my last question then. Do we assume, I guess it's just an assumption, so I shouldn't even ask, do we assume? I am assuming that what Hall and Sons has here, there's nothing else that we have to pay for. Is that the assumption? Because over here we have cleanup cost, over here we do not. So does that mean that he's not going to do cleanup? Because cleanup is always an extra charge.
Cleanup is always
Because he's not here, we don't know.
I think I can answer it from the standpoint of the
Sure.
village, and without the public works director here, I have had conversations with him throughout this process. It's the public works department does a majority of our branch pickup. Our Homewood disposal does our leaf pickup, and so these would be extra services that that particular company included in their proposal. Hall and Sons did not, but those are not services that I would anticipate us contracting out for, since we have our public works department handling a lot of that stuff in-house anyway. If we were to require something beyond the scope of what we asked for a proposal for, of course, there would be an additional cost for it, but that is not something that we requested because it's not something we anticipate utilizing. This was strictly for weekly grass cuts.
That's it. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
So I have a question and comment, y'all. Oh, this is my 3rd grass contract. 2020, we approved it. The bids were very close. I think Mrs. Elmore was like 50 cents higher. So we went with a true, proven residence. It sounds like what I'm hearing is that we want to have an RFP system that gives extra points for a resident, that may give extra points for a minority. If that's the case, then we should do that. But I don't think we have that in our RFP system, do we?
We don't, and I think that is where some of the questions have come into place. Is a different administration, myself being different, we approached it in a different manner, I think, than has been done in the past. I handled it in the consistent manner that I've handled RFPs in other communities that I've been a part of. If the board would like to create a policy for how we handle these things, certainly that's what will be adhered to. But in absence of that right now, I handled it consistent with how I've gone through this process, and quite frankly, have done it here within the village of Glenwood over the last
Correct. So this contract is one of the first contracts. The contract with Homewood Disposal should have been done, but never was. That was 5-year contract. So what I'd like to see is a fair playing field for all. And if the playing field is fair, then we don't have this consternation, which is what we have now. Okay? So if all contracts are going to be 3 years, great. If they're going to be 5 years, great. If they're going to be an RFP meeting, great. If you're going to give points to a resident or to minority or woman or veteran-owned business, great. But we have to be consistent. But we also have to spend your tax dollars wisely. Okay? When people do a bid, generally speaking, the lowest bid wins. That's only fair. Because if you change the rules in the middle of the game, then you're being discriminatory toward the other party who is not here to defend him or herself. So, what action should we take, board?
Well, Trustee Hadnot, I wanted to just add to when you said not being fair to the Homewood contract. That contract expired before we took
I
the
know.
seat and was renewed under the previous administration. And it was shared with the board that we did go back, but as opposed to going into litigation because of that contract. But that is the purpose of why we said that what we would do annually, we will revisit all of the contracts so that we could create, either if it's at the board's leisure, policies around what those look like, but to be fair and consistent, that we would look at all the contracts to include those that had expired, to be able to evaluate them to start a fair process.
That's the point I'm making.
Yep.
The point I'm making is we have to be fair. So in this case, being fair may harm someone who's had a long-term contract who is the resident. That wasn't the intent of this. This is not here. No one's trying to harm Mrs. Elmore. I helped her get the contract in 2020 and 2023, and she'll sit here and say that, I'm sure. Okay, I met with Brian Mitchell and Kevin Welsh to help her get the contract in 2023. Okay, right here in this village hall. So the bottom line is, what policies do we want to have that are consistent and that save taxpayer money? Every dime we spend is your money. And the good of the many outweigh the good of the few.
No, not during this time. Public comment. Okay, motion's on the floor. There's no other question.
Nope.
I want a motion to table. And the reason why I want to do that is because I'd like to have Hall and Sons be invited here so that during public comments, they can also come up and say something. We are speculating and we are thinking this and that, and we're just looking at some paper, but we don't have the person here in order to even possibly ask him a question or for him to present himself. So I motion to table this until Hall and Sons could come in the village hall.
I'll second that.
Who first the motion? Someone who,
Made the first original motion.
the first one? Are you willing to amend your motion?
No, a table
Table.
supersedes my motion. So we're going to vote on her table.
Okay,
Did we have a first and a second?
I second
you second the
her
motion?
motion.
Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Brown,
Aye.
Trustee Mosley,
No.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Roll,
No.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed. Motion to accept proposal for Mika Locksmith for access control of Village Hall facilities.
I'll make that motion.
Did we motion to table? No, we did.
Any questions? Mika Locksmith.
So
I'm sorry, I just have a couple questions. Village Administrator, how many key cards? Well, I'm sorry, it says that we'll have $130 per door at 1170, so it seems as though we'll have 9 doors. Is that correct?
We do have, find my paper, sorry. I believe it was 9.
Okay, so have you decided which doors?
Yes, it's all entry doors at Village Hall. the Blakey Center, Arquilla Park Field House, Hickory Glen Field House, the Center Street or Forest Field House, and then the concession stand.
Okay. One more well, I don't know how many more questions I have, but, okay. So it says, I'm just trying to make it make sense to me. Total investment is $21,390. We're going to be billed separately. The hosting fee is $1,170.
That's a typo. The hosting fee is $1,430 a year, which is the number that's on the bottom. That $1,170 should also say $1,430. The initial proposal they sent over, they did not include the concession stand on it. And then when they updated it, they just didn't update that line. So the two costs associated are the initial investment with $21,390. As I said before, a portion of this will be taken from ARPA funds because we do have ARPA funds available for remodel. And then additionally, every year we will pay a $1,430 hosting fee to the locksmith company to host the technology portion of it for us.
How long would this take to complete? Approximately.
Once we give them the go ahead, I have worked with this company in the past. I've seen them work. If everything is there in place for them, as far as the internet access and all of that stuff, they can knock out these buildings in a couple hours apiece. So it's just a matter of getting on their schedule.
Okay, and one more question. You mentioned that there's a certain amount of time that when you swipe the key card, and I don't know what time that is.
So it will vary by user. So
Okay.
currently, there are a number of people that have keys to our facilities for different reasons. We have athletics organizations that have keys to the concession stand. We have HOA organizations that have keys to their respective field houses. Each individual who it is deemed needs access to the building will be issued a key card. That key card will have parameters on it. So if your meeting is on the second Tuesday of the month, your key card will open that building the second Tuesday of the month from 5 o'clock till 10 p.m. or whatever it may be. We can change it. We can open it on special circumstances. It can be opened remotely. But the individual users' cards, their access will be based on their need to access the building. That we won't have what we have right now, which is a number of individuals running around with keys to buildings that can get in and out at any time.
And last question for real, do you have a list of the people that you will allow to have the key cards?
I have a list of people that I know currently have them that probably will have them.
Okay.
Now I don't have, as I said before, I don't have a current list of everybody that's got a key right now because those records were not kept well. But yes, I would say that what I just mentioned, athletics organizations, HOA presidents,
Village trustees.
village staff as needed for rentals,
Village
type of thing.
trustees.
The other thing is, the other thing about this is, as far as facility rentals go, right now it's kind of a convoluted process where if you rent the facility, you have to come in, you have to pay a cash deposit beforehand, you go the morning of your event, pick the key up from the police department, bring it back at the end of the night, come back Monday and get your cash deposit back. We can eliminate a lot of that if we have remote access to unlock and lock these doors. We don't have to be giving out keys. So if we know that Trustee Brown's got the field house rented from 10 a.m. Saturday till 10 p.m. or 9 p.m., whatever it is, we can remotely unlock that door at 10 a.m. and you've got access to it for the duration of your rental. You don't have to mess around with these cash deposits and keys going back and forth and all of that. It will not only simplify matters, but it will much strengthen the security of these 3, 4, 6 buildings.
Are you going to do the same thing to the people that, I just thought of this, that rent the field houses? Will they get a card?
No, that was what I was just referring to. We won't have to have that because we'll be able to remotely set the door to unlock it.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
I noticed here that you have that some of the funds to pay for these locks are going to come out of the Blakey's remodeling fund. As it is, I was not able to do the floor last year because we ran short of money. I did the lights up on the front. I got a new freezer. I got an ice machine. I got a stove, but I didn't have any money to do the floor. Now the floor floor hasn't been done since 23 years. And now I'm looking here that you siphon off the little funds I do have. And if you look at our monthly or report about expenses, everybody else is in the thousands. Mine's is like $285, $300. It's really low as it is, you know. And I would like to get a floor if I could, but if you take the funds away, I won't be able to do the floor.
Trustee Williams, I haven't seen any proposals for the floor over there, but I can, in conversations with Brian, I think there's probably still money left in that ARPA line item for Blakey to probably get a floor done as well in addition to this.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Mhm.
This separately billed $1,430. Can you explain that to me, please?
Yep, that's a yearly fee. So these locks are electronic. They're hosted in the cloud. I'm going to try and explain it to you the best I can. I'm not a computer guy. But like most other cloud-based systems, somebody has to host the information in the server for it. The locksmith company themselves takes that responsibility on, and that's what the fee is. It's a yearly fee for us to utilize their servers to host the software we need to operate our program. I think it also includes a subscription fee to the program itself that we can use to program the keys and remotely lock and unlock the doors if needed.
Okay, and this is paid annually or monthly?
Annually.
So it's a one-time payment? I mean,
Correct.
annually.
Yep.
Okay, and also, what is the warranty on the equipment?
I believe it was a 5-year warranty. It's not included on this one. I believe it was 5 years. I did not print the other paperwork out, but I'm almost positive it was a 5-year warranty on all the locks.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Williams,
This is on the lock.
Yes, sir.
yes.
Wake up.
No floor.
Yes, sir.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Roll,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed. Requesting a motion to enter into an agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management for the lease and maintenance of 5 2026 Ford Explorers, 4 for the fire department and 1 for the police department.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any questions?
Yes.
Clerk, call the roll.
No, I have questions.
Sorry. Roll.
So I am all in favor of the police and fire department of getting new vehicles. But my one question is, why do we have to lease? Why are we renting?
So the reason that this program is attractive is because of the maintenance portion of it. As I stated earlier, currently we're spending on average $18,000 a year to maintain the 4 fire department vehicles that we're looking to replace here. It's a little bit of a drastic example because of how old they are, but a lot of our vehicles are kind of in that same age range. The advantage here is we entered into this agreement with Enterprise. They source the cars and get them direct from Ford, in this case from Ford, at factory pricing. They pass them on to us at factory pricing. Included in our lease payment to them is that maintenance fee where if anything goes wrong, we take it to the shop. They send the repair bill to Enterprise. They pay it. We don't pay any maintenance. Why that's helpful is that the older the cars get and the more mileage they get on them, Enterprise is incentivized to get us out of those cars and get new cars. Any equity that's left over in those vehicles comes back to the village once the lease is paid off. It doesn't go to Enterprise. And so it's kind of a works for both sides deal here where they want us to get the cars turned over within typically 3 to 4 years, they said, depending on the mileage, before the maintenance bills start adding up for them. And so this is, and the fire chief and I had lengthy discussions when we were talking about this, because what are the advantages and disadvantages of doing something like this rather than purchasing vehicles outright and holding on to them. Well, that's kind of how we ended up where we are now, where our average vehicle age is 19 and a half years, and we're spending all the maintain them. This puts us on a fixed yearly budget for vehicles. And once, again, as I stated earlier, the goal would be, intention would be over a course of time to get the entire village fleet, aside from fire trucks, ambulances, on this program. We know what we're paying ahead of time in fixed costs, whether it's maintenance, lease payments, and all of that stuff. And so it takes out a lot of our liability on that side of it.
I mean, the fixed cost part is great. So I used to do vehicle leasing and financing for. So I'm speaking from experience and not from fear. Leasing is going to cost you more money in the long run. If we're talking about being fiscally responsible, leasing is going to cost us more than us actually owning the vehicles. The vehicles within the first 3 years anyway are under one manufacturer. So what maintenance expense would you have except for your basic oil change, tire rotation, your basic maintenance? So really the win-win is for enterprise, not for the village, just to be honest with you. You can secure a line of credit through, if you want to save for it, or through an OEM, and to buy these vehicles as needed. I do agree that we kept the vehicles too long. That's the problem, why your maintenance costs are an average of $18,000 per vehicle, because you held on too long. These vehicles should have been sold, whether it was at auction or traded. There's no way that you'll have equity in a lease because you don't own the vehicle. So you can't have equity in something that you don't own. So that's a sales pitch. Granted, there are other municipalities that use this service from enterprise, and it does allow you to have more vehicles at one time at a fixed cost, but you are paying more in the long run than you are in the short run. That's my only issue with it. I do think that the police and fire department are due new vehicles, but I don't think this is the way.
Any other questions?
For me, these vehicles, I know we have about 60 vehicles, and I understand that some people take vehicles home. And so I think we need to come up with a comprehensive plan. In fact, there was a gentleman at the golf course that was going to do a vehicle survey for us. And I think that would be very helpful going forward, is to know our cost per mile. What's the cost per mile of each vehicle? And when you have that number, then you can kind of gate and feather what your needs are. Of course, we need some new vehicles, but why do we always need to buy a Ford Explorer SUV? Okay. I suggested electric vehicles. I suggested smaller vehicles. But it seems like we're kind of stuck in this Ford Explorer SUV at 50 grand a pop, or the lease payment. But we need to find some way to reduce those costs as well.
I have another
Okay, go ahead.
question. As far as the insurance goes, isn't there higher costs on insurance for leased cars?
No, I've spoken with our insurance broker. Our rates will likely be down because we're bringing in newer vehicles that have more safety features, and generally the safety feature aspect is really what they expressed to me. As far as lane assistance and auto braking if you get too close, and all of the features that come on vehicles in 2026 that maybe didn't exist in 2011, 2013 when these initial vehicles were purchased. So I have, had those conversations with the village's insurance policy holder, and they've have experience dealing with municipalities that use this enterprise leasing program. I think, we're kind of getting caught up as on the word lease, and I know, in car parlance, that can be a scary word. I personally have never leased a vehicle myself for some of the very reasons that I think Trustee Roll laid out. However, having gone through this program and had been having meetings with it for probably 6 months, I can tell you that it doesn't operate like a traditional leasing program that for your personal vehicles. To me, the advantage of it is what I've laid out already, in that it helps us fix our costs. And to your point, a lot of the work would be covered under the warranty in the first couple of years anyway, but you still have tires, brakes, oil changes, simple routine maintenance stuff, that we're capping the cost on that too. We're fixing all of those costs. If you look at what it costs to do just a simple brake job on a car these days, it's over $1,000. Just, it's almost $800 in parts, and then you add in labor. So, when you talk about just those simple maintenance aspects, it really, kind of helps. Of course, enterprises gain from this as well. They wouldn't be offering it if they weren't standing to gain in some way either. But for me, rather than trying to come up with a mechanism to outright buy and replace 5 cars this year, 5 cars next year, 5 cars the year after, and just being on that perpetual cycle, this helps get us in a place where we know what the fixed cost is, we set it, and then we just rotate the cars as we need to get newer ones in, get the older ones out.
So I have one.
That we can say maybe lease for 3 years. Is there an option to buy?
There is an option to buy at the end of it if we.
Okay.
Yeah, there certainly is, and
That might be compromise.
we, that is an option. We get to that point and we say, hey, we like the car, so we don't.
Okay.
I have one more question. As far as mileage, annual mileage, I believe I read it was 10,000 miles.
Yeah, so that was based on a survey of the fleet that we have now, how many miles are put on the vehicles a year. Again, because we're a small town and these vehicles are for the most part transiting within the village itself, 10,000 miles is above the average of what we put on our vehicles in the village every year. I think it was like 8,500 is what the average is, but it's spread out over the life of the 5 years. So it's 50,000 by the end of the lease.
Right.
And so, we can keep an eye on that as well. That's one of the other things that I don't think I've touched on with this is the fleet management aspect of it that comes with it, where we will have, our own dedicated portal with Enterprise, and we can click on any given VIN or car at any time and see this is how many miles this car's got on it, how many miles this car's got on it, here's the repairs this one's had done to it, here's when this one last had its oil changed. It will all be available for us right there, which is not something that the village has ever kept track of, as far as I know, in terms of usage and maintenance on our vehicles. So it will also allow us to kind of do similar to what you're asking, Trustee Hadnot, and a lot of that homework that we had to go into to come up with starting this plan was identifying which vehicles the village actually has and how many miles are on them. Because when I went to bring, and I believe I mentioned this, when I brought the renewal policies to the board a few months ago, we had to make some serious changes there because we were insuring vehicles that the village got rid of years ago. And so in that process is where we kind of came up with this roster and then started doing this assessment.
Okay.
Okay.
Clerk?
Then one more thing though. So with the leasing though, there's no tax advantages to us either. There's no benefits or write-offs for the equipment itself. So how does that benefit us? I understand the ease of being able to have access to the vehicles, but just what leasing could do for you if you were a business, it doesn't do that for the village. And then with the insurance limits of liability, they are higher on a lease per that contract. You have to carry higher limits of liability on a vehicle that we don't. So there will be some small increase per vehicle on insurance as well.
Well, my standpoint when we starting the budget for 2027, one, we can't afford to purchase 5 cars. That's just the reality, right? But for the sake of expedience and having it, we cannot have, right, the current, we're in the fire department, that they don't have sufficient cars for them. So we have a fire chief who's driving his per car. And then we have the other staff that's driving cars that literally has a hole in the floor. And then with the police department and being down cars, switching out. So in looking at the budget and seeing what's the best way to not impede on or erode the safety, having them to be able to do what they need to do, what is the best efficient and cost-effective way that we would be able to get these cars as opposed to spending $18,000 to try to replace what do you call it, the engine? The whatever, I don't know about the cars and the leasing. So for me, of being able and having requests of what it is that we need to do, what is the most cost effective, what we on the front end will save money while we're looking to be able to look at, and when we're looking at our inventory from that auditing standpoint of having these old cars and those that are, well, we still have cars that literally needs that. So in order to get a quick fleet in to be able to operate, that for me was that selling point of what can we do when I charge the village administrator and the police and the fire chief, like what can we do to be able to meet this need with the limited resources that we have.
So with that, these OEMs have this available where they will extend you a line of credit and you pick out a vehicle. If you wanted to buy 20 vehicles in that line of credit, you can. It exists, but we have to do the work.
Unfortunately, trying to obtain a line of credit as we're trying to move through the audit are not options for us.
I think it is.
People.
And I speak from experience. I don't think we tried. I think we went with the path with the distance. I do understand that there is an urgency to purchase vehicles. There is. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have, but I speak from experience. We didn't do the work. I've seen and I've done it myself for other companies where I've gotten them a line of credit and they bought snowplows, they bought dump trucks, they bought, whatever, that they needed to run their business, at 20 vehicles a pop. So it does exist. I just don't think that we tried. We went with the path with the least resistance. I'm just one vote, but the rest of you have a say-so in this.
Absolutely.
But there is a better way and a cheaper way to save money to do it and still achieve the same goal.
Well, I have an idea, Trustee Rowe. So why don't we have you get a proposal to buy 5 vehicles with a line of credit and we'll compare cost?
I'm sorry? The motion on the floor is to enter into agreement. If we don't have any other questions, can we get a vote? Clerk, can you call the roll?
Trustee Rowe,
Right, we're saying two different things. Are we asking to vote on the enterprise contract?
Yes, that's
Okay,
what.
my vote is no.
Mhm.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Taylor,
No.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Leasing of vehicles.
I'm sorry, what was the vote? 3 and 3?
3 to 3.
I'll break the tie. Oh, yes. Now we're to trustee reports. Trustee Liaison Committee reports limited to 8 minutes. Trustee Liaison for the Advisory Committee, any reports?
I'm gonna take like about 60 seconds. Listen. The advisory committee has only 2 people. Me and Clerk Jesse. The advisory committee is to me like really an awesome committee if you so choose to join it. The advisory committee is a broader type of committee that we can work on various projects in the village that you see fit. I'm just a liaison. I wouldn't run it, I just oversee it. For example, everybody should know that my passion is on awareness and special needs because of my son. I've asked for many years, like, can we have a special need committee, et cetera, et cetera. I went to Mayor Hart about it and she said, why don't you just make that a part of the advisory committee? So we can work on finding resources, et cetera, for special needs, not just autism, let's say for a quarter. Now we're talking about domestic violence. Okay, now the advisory committee can work on that for about 3 or 4 months, take it back to the board and see how we can get guest speakers or some kind of resources, et cetera. Breast cancer. One of the residents had Kathy, had a really good suggestion about getting a mobile mammogram or this and that in the village, et cetera, et cetera. So each one of these segments of the year, let's say 4 months, 4 months, 4 months, 3, 3, 3, 3, the advisory committee can come together and focus on one thing at a time. We need a lot of help, not just youth, not just seniors. but it's a bunch of different ideas that we can do and really bring Glenwood forward. And it starts partly with the advisory committee. Now, if I don't get any feedback from the people that are here, that's fine. And if I need to grassroots and knock on doors and talk to residents about it, I will. I've done it before. I can do it again. But this committee is underserved because it seems like nobody really wants to do it. But it's okay, because Jesse and I do. Jesse, I'm volunteering you. He'll knock on doors with me, and we'll get some fresh blood. So you have an opportunity. It's open. The only day that I say, and I'm wrapping it up, the only day that's best for us is Monday. Tuesday is here, Wednesday is Bible study, Thursday is something else, Friday I play cards. So I'm just saying Monday is the best day for Jesse and I. We're first or second Monday, whatever. So I'm asking you, please, if you're interested, I'm not going to ask you no more. If you're interested, please ask Jesse and I about the advisory committee. If not, Jesse and I will be knocking on doors. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bro. Thank you. Beautification Committee.
Good evening, and on behalf of the Beautification Committee, most of you should have the flyer for the community-wide cleanup event that the Beautification Committee worked on together. The Beautification Committee is very proud of the work that it is doing, and it wants to address some of the things that they see in the community with trash and debris in certain areas. So if you look at the flyer, there's 2 meetup spots. This cleanup event, it is volunteer. We hope to see you there in the amount of attendance that we have tonight. It'll be great to see all of you there. This is on April the 25th. And there's 2 locations, Halsted Plaza and Hickory Glen Park. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Bro. Ethics Committee.
We're going to use all of our 8 minutes.
Good evening. Hope this thing is working. Hi, I'm Shirley Portier, and I'm part of the Ethics Committee. So how are you? So good evening to the mayor, members of the board, the Village Ethics Committee, who appreciates the opportunity to present an informational report. Our charge was to gather feedback, review best practices, and return factual findings related to ethics, transparency, and public trust within our village. Over the past months, the committee has administrated anonymous ethics surveys to village residents, elected officials, and employees. The purpose of these surveys was to understand perceptions, expectations, and priorities related to governance, while protecting confidentiality and encouraging honest participation. This presentation is informational only. This committee is not advocating a policy outcome. Our role tonight is to present the data and research findings to the board so that they may determine the next steps as they see appropriate. So basically, our survey results strongly reflected in consistent expectations regarding ethical conduct for the village government. A significant majority of respondents expressed support for a zero tolerance policy on gifts to public officials and employees. Residents also indicated that transparency, clear and ethical boundaries, accountability, and it is critical to maintain trust between the village and the community that it serves. Additional survey responses were shown for the safeguards of ensuring ethical standards, clearly communicating, and consistency when applied. The demographic data was collected for context. No identifying information was retained. The committee additionally focused on patterns and trends, not individual responses. And we do have those reports, and I will pass them out to those in the room, and you should have them. The next person up is Mr. Pierre.
Thank you.
Good evening. You don't want it yet? Oh, okay.
All right. Good evening. Good evening. I'm Pierre Nichols. The survey responses from employees and elected officials also showed strong alignment with ethical best practices. An overwhelming majority agreed that public duties must take precedence over personal interests and that officials should recuse themselves when conflicts of interest arise. Respondents also affirmed familiarity with ethics requirements and expressed agreement that transparency fosters public trust. Importantly, many indicated they would feel comfortable raising ethical concerns if appropriate safeguards are in place. From a local governance perspective, these findings suggest that ethical standards are not only supported by the community, but also understood and valued internally. Clear expectations and consistent training help protect the village, its officials, and its employees from risk and uncertainty. Mr. Hadnot, Trustee Hadnot.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are here for one reason, to protect taxpayers. Over the last several years, ethics violations and the legal fallout surrounding them have cost you, the residents, $1.4 million. From the just four that I analyzed, I could have done many more. That is money that did not go to public safety or vehicles. It did not go to infrastructure. It did not go to seniors. It did not go to lowering the tax burden on already stretched thin residents. When ethics fail, taxpayers pay, and they have paid enough. The ordinance before you today is not about revisiting old conflicts or assigning blame. It's about preventing future harm. It's about putting in place clear standards, real accountability, and safeguards that ensure no future board, no matter who sits in these seats, can expose the village to these kind of costly mistakes. Passing this ordinance is the fiscally responsible choice. It strengthens oversight, reduces legal exposure, and creates a transparent process that protects both the public and the officials who serve them. Every dollar that we prevent from being wasted or on avoidable litigation is $1 that can be reinvested into our community. This is not a political issue. It's a taxpayer protection issue. It's a good government issue, and it's long overdue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I hope to have had an interactive opportunity, but I've got physical communication that we can pass out at a specific time. So the next conduit that would help elevate the opportunity to express or to communicate ethics complaints would be a ethics complaint form. In this form, as you'll see it once it's passed out, gives the opportunity for the individuals to provide their primary contact information, their name. It also provides an opportunity for you to select in which you represent yourself as a village resident, business owner, village employee, contractor, vendor. It also makes an opportunity for the name of the individual or subject that the complaint is entitled towards. It gives the dates of the violation, the location of the alleged violations, and the types of violations are such as a conflict of interest, improper use of resources, financial disclosure violation, improper gifts or benefits, misuse of confidentiality information, nepotism, abuse of power, authority, social media, internet violation, or other specific in description. So it gives an itemized box for a written description in terms of what those violations might be other than what's listed. It also provides an opportunity for you to upload evidence or documentation related to the complaint. There's also a drop-down box that you won't be able to see in the printout, what also communicates if you have expressed this complaint to another agency and organization. Beyond that, it gives an opportunity for you to provide with the remedy or resolution seeking, additional comments, and then there are three certifying checkbox for more or less an attestation in terms of that you certified that this complaint is in fact true. Lastly, you would obviously submit the complaint, and then the request from the ethics committee would be twofold to the village. One, is that this be placed on the village's website, which is accessible to the community, employees, and then also vendors as well. And then beyond that, that a independent mailbox be created for the Ethics Committee in which we would receive these complaints. And from that point, conversations and then an investigation would take place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. If I don't finish mine before the ding is dong, I'll pick it up in public comment. Thank you. In addition to the survey findings presented that you'll see in just a little bit this evening, the committee would like to highlight several broader considerations that reinforce the importance of continued transparency and ethical governance within our village. First, community trust and confidence. First, the survey responses demonstrate that residents place a high value on transparency and accountability. When governing bodies respond thoughtfully to community input, it strengthens public confidence in local government and reinforces the partnership between the residents and their elected leadership. Protection of public resources was mentioned. That is a factor. Number three, alliance with best practices in municipal governance. We've done a lot of research. We did research from state, local, state, and national governance to come up with our recommendations. Responding to community engagement. The surveys themselves represent an important form of civic participation. Residents, employees, and officials took the time to share their perspectives. A thoughtful review of their input demonstrates that their voices matter and that Glenwood values transparency and open dialogue. One of the things that you'll see in your handout is a little clipping we took from Michelle Obama on Jimmy Kimmel, where she she explained how excited she was to receive gifts from Oprah Winfrey. And she was so thrilled to share that idea. She was so thrilled to share the news with her husband, President Obama. As soon as he saw those gifts, he told them they must be returned because he was an elected official and he wanted to make sure there were no violations when it comes to ethics. So some of our recommendations. Our recommendations: formally adopt the ethical plans as the new ethics ordinance. 2, establish the independent ethics commission to ensure neutral enforcement, and that would need to be done with the village's legal counsel. 3, launch mandatory annual ethics training for all village personnel. The high cost of corruption is a taxpayer liability. I want you all to know we did a lot of studies, a lot of research. We put in a whole lot of time, and to paraphrase the actor in Dragnet, we wanted just the facts, just the facts. We weren't trying to find out any information. We kept everything confidential. You will receive a packet. We were hoping to project it, but because of time, we're going to make sure that the trustees and the mayor can get it, as well as everyone else. We want everyone to know who participated. We thank you. We thank the board. We thank everyone for participating. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance Committee. You can give me one. One from the committee survey and the other from the ethics from the elected. Okay, thank you. Finance Committee.
Hello. Over the past 7 months, the Finance Committee has worked on 2 major projects. Our first major project was to go over policies and procedures for financial work done in the village, and we submitted a recommendation to the mayor and the village administrator on changes to be made to the ordinances and how our procedures and policies work in those areas. The second thing we've done is we have gone through the FY 2027 budget and made a recommendation to the mayor and the village administrator. The next step in that process will be them going through and doing their final touches. And of course, we'll have an open budget meeting for the public once that's done, and get the budget approved and adopted on time. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Seniors Committee.
Our president's not here tonight. I see that our president is not here. Oh, yes, she is. I'm sorry. I couldn't see you from over there.
She changed her hair.
I get that all the time, married to somebody who claims to be 6'5", but anyway, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. I'm Janet Hadnot, chairperson of the senior committee. I know it's hard to believe that I'm a senior, but we started meeting in August of last year, August of 2025. I was asked to be the chairperson of the senior committee. And so I took it upon myself to visit Bloom and Thornton Township senior offices because part of the manor is in Thornton Township. Bloom was a lot more receptive than Thornton. Thornton felt like we have such a small amount of people that feed into the Thornton Township, and so they really weren't willing to come out to visit us. But we did have a visit from Katie Rodriguez from the Bloom Township Senior Office. She came out with some great information for us. I also met with Richard, I believe his name is Cameron, is that his last name?
Yes,
At the
yes.
Senior Center.
Yes.
And just got some feedback from him. He's the one who lets people in and seniors in. I've also been in contact with Joanne Alexander, the former senior director. She's been very helpful with background information and history about what has happened before I came into this position. We've had a visit from Brenda Boyd from Big Brothers Big Sisters. We've had a visit from Rhonda Ruffin from the Glenwood Library. We've had a visit from Cheryl Garrett from Gen Care here in Glenwood. So we started out with about maybe 4 or 5 people in August. I think we're probably up to 15 people. So we really need to just work on getting the word out that there is a senior committee, and we are looking for ideas about what we want to do moving forward. We do not have a budget, so we're kind of limited with what we can do. We are hoping that Gen Care will come back because they've said that they could probably put on some activities for us at the senior center. So that's what we're hoping for, and we're just waiting to get the approval for a senior director. I know that's been budgeted, and I know lots of things are going on. So I think once we get the senior director position filled, we'll have a lot more access and activities for the seniors. We meet the third Wednesday of the month in the senior center at 6 p.m. So come on out and give us your ideas.
Thank you. Golf committee.
On behalf of the golf committee, we have 2 of our members here that are on the golf committee, Mr. Howard Martin and Mr. Leon Moore. The golf committee, it meets quarterly or as needed, and we. No? Oh, he's an unofficial member. The next meeting will be in May, and that is to discuss the 2027 budget and any immediate needs for the upcoming season. As many of you know, that the golf course is also a business for the Village of Glenwood that generates its own revenue separate from anything else. This year, the golf course will celebrate its 100th year of operation this summer. And in celebration of that, there is a clothing apparel line being promoted for purchase. So please support. The golf committee met on January 24th, 2026, which was its only meeting. And it discussed the golf rates for 2026. The golf course now charges a 3% surcharge to use a credit card. So prior till now, the golf course was consuming those fees to the tune of about $30,000 a year. So now those are passed back to the customers, as most businesses do post-COVID. The 2026 marketing discussion, they secured $8,000 in savings with the marketing displays through the golf course. So that's a revenue generator as well. The gazebo for weddings will be upgraded to a concrete foundation. The current foundation is grass. The maintenance crew from Glenwood has submitted a cost to complete the project and securing 2 more estimates for approval. All of the items except for the gazebo project were approved by the board in February 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. The events committee?
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you who have come out for our events thus far this year, which were the Black History Month program that we had in February. And then we had a most wonderful Easter Bunny event this past Saturday. So I'd like to thank everyone that works on the events committee and John Fields and Trustee Roll and Dion Lynch, myself, and Steve Patterson, who is our public relations person. And a special kudos to our mayor and the staff, the village staff. Our Easter egg hunt was supposed to be outside, but we had about 80,000 gallons of rain. So at the last minute, it had to be changed and put here inside the village hall. So I want to give kudos to Jen Marie, our human resources, and Kirby. I don't know Kirby's last name. Kirby Wells, who is the event person for the Glenwood. They did an excellent job with transforming this boardroom where the Easter Bunny was sitting right up here for people to take pictures. You can go online and see all the pictures. And they transformed downstairs where the kids came and got candy and they had games, and it was just a joyful event. So kudos and thank you to everyone that participated in making it a successful event, and thank you all for coming out. Our next events we're working on are the Juneteenth event. And after that, we will be working on the 4th of July event. We try to meet on the third Thursdays of every month at 2:00 here in the boardroom. Our events are posted and we are open to any suggestions that you might have. So if you can't make the meeting, then you can email myself or any other member of the events committee, and we would love to hear what you would want. So thank you.
Thank you. Any new business?
Yes, for, well, it's on tonight's agenda. So I have to ask if we could just circle back just for my own clarity as well. When we discussed the landscaping contract, there was a motion first by Trustee Hadnot, and then there was a motion by Trustee Brown to table. So I'm a little confused if you could repeat what that vote was for and the outcome.
To table was for
It was
the-
to table.
to table, that motion was for the.
We didn't take any
lawn
action.
care song.
I'm confused, that's why I'm asking.
You're asking what was the motion for
Yes.
table? That was for the lawn care service contract.
Okay,
That
so
was
we,
table.
okay, so that was tabled.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Old business.
We didn't.
I have a couple questions for new business.
Okay.
It's to you, Mayor, or Village Administrator. Do we have status updates on when we get new businesses, like how they're doing in the 3rd month, 6th month, a year? Do we track those? Do we go and see them and, hey, how you doing? You know, I know we know the revenue. We can see that part. But do we just go and check on them every 3, 6 months, or 9 months? And if we're not, just go and how the new businesses are doing.
The new
New
you mean
business,
the-
any
the-
new businesses that,
business
yeah,
in there.
coming to
Your
the,
question is, do we check on them
yes.
quarterly?
Do we have a report to see how they're doing? Or just being friendly, just check on them to see if they're flourishing or not, if they need anything from us, et cetera? I just thought about that.
I do have a relationship with 80% of the business and having communication. I don't know that there's a check-in, but as we talk about growth and opportunities, and when we're having, when the event committee is asking for things, I reach out to not only the business, but the other officials to participate in, to support those efforts around there. So
Okay. My
some
second.
more than
I'm sorry.
others.
My second question, I'm looking at the committees that we have before us. Would you consider establishing a youth and teen committee as well?
We can certainly have conversations about it. That too can, as I said, that as opposed to having committees that's not active committees that are part of that advisory committee, right? That advisory committee as being that arm can umbrella those community initiatives.
I keep telling them that.
Just saying.
See, that's another example right there of what the advisory committee can do. I just said, can we have youth and teen? And she's like, well, that could be under the advisory committee. See what I mean? There you go. Okay, my last question. Can we begin to have like the business breakfasts again? You know, I don't remember how often that we did it, once a month or once a quarter.
I believe when I reported out previously on that, and in talking to the business, they didn't feel that the agenda that we previously had, that format was particularly productive for them, or why they were not interested. So the business will take an active role in committing something together to be able to do something that would be of interest of the business here. To be able to have that, if we're going to do it, we want to be able to be open for business and have them to have an opportunity with the purpose and the outcome.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. New business, old business, open to the public, 3 minutes will be time.
Good evening. Melinda Platt, 423 West Arquilla. I wanted to borrow a couple of minutes from Michelle Mosley because there was a few things going on at the time when she was speaking on behalf of the Finance Committee. I'd like to take back a couple of minutes that may have not been heard when she was speaking, if I may.
Sure.
Our committee consists of Leon Moore, Howard Martin, Frida Comer, Michelle Mosley, and myself, Melinda Platt. We've been meeting for the last 8 months regularly to look at the businesses, the finances of the village, and have come up with a recommendation for the budget for the 26-27 term. The end of this fiscal year, of course, is April. And the budget recommendation is being given to you on time ahead of the beginning of the term. So we're very happy about that. In acknowledgement of limited resources and finances, we want to make sure that you consider the amount of revenue that is available to be spending on any type of project that you have. Last year, we overspent for the motor fuel tax by over $500,000. We want to make sure those kind of things don't happen again. So we want to make sure that you pay special attention to the budget. It is a working budget. We'll be looking at it again and make sure that the accuracy and any other considerations that we need to look at, including capital purchases, there has to be revenue for that, as the mayor stated. So I'm very proud of the committee, everything that's been accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, we based some of those recommendations on a survey. Only 51 people responded. That was a disappointment. Hopefully the next time we have a survey, then more people will respond. My other comment, we had very little conversation, or none really, about the flooding over at the park. I don't know what happened. We had a lot of rain. I understand that, but the amount of rain that collected in the park was, I'm sure, not anticipated. I don't know what happened after spending so much time and money in that park. It looked beautiful. The grass is growing and very nice. We have all this equipment that's coming that we're going to put in the park, and I can't understand for the sake of me how this happened. We had no discussion about that today, so how did it happen?
Dave, will you explain the purpose of it? It was supposed to collect the water.
On the other side of Park Drive, the levee was not built to keep water out of the park. So if water was in the park, then it functioned as a river.
I mean, I don't know if there was the gates. I know at one time MWRD or somebody opened the gates on one side and the water collected over here. There's water that's collected in other areas, but not like this. And so if we're going to be bringing in equipment in that area, we have to really understand, is that the place for it? Because it would ruin all the equipment that we're going to be bringing in on this grant. But I, for the sake of me, can't understand why we have a river over there in the.
Thank you for that question. That I'll look into it, and the village administrator will report out at the next meeting.
Thank you. One more thing. I wanted to thank the Public Works for coming over to the park over in over by the baseball field. Thank you for cleaning that out. The bathrooms were a mess. I thank you for doing that. Baseball season is starting. We're asking young people to come out and play baseball. We're still registering children. We still have open team placements. So come on out and support us, and we'll be asking you possibly to participate in a parade. I'll get that more information. Of course, we want you to come out and throw out the first ball on May 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't see them. Right.
Murdoch.
Richard Nielsen, 107 North State. Been a resident of Glenwood for over 70 years. And I'm here for the AMVETS of Glenwood. I believe we're the only veteran organization. It was brought to my attention that there used to be a memorial of veterans on the backside of the village hall here, and it was taken down for what reason, I don't know. But it was brought to my attention that it's in the building for maintenance, the maintenance building. And what I'm asking, the proposal is if the village could reinstall that out front where the flags are. It has names of all the veterans that live in Glenwood, and it probably has to be updated to some degree too. But that's a proposal I'm asking for the village.
Will you, Rich, get with the village administrator and we'll look into it and report back out?
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Two concerns. My first question, more or less, how did we come to issuing a business license for Tornado on 183rd and Halsted?
What do you mean? How do we?
How did we come to that? Was that a board vote? Are they relocating? Did they issue a new application for a new location?
Oh, you're saying over on 100
183rd and Halsted in
Yeah,
the
in the
plaza
same-
with Enterprise.
Yes, the same business process.
No.
No.
I'm asking, did they submit a new business license for that location?
Yes.
They did. And so they're not moving from the Glenwood Lansing to Halsted, correct? So I have a grave concern about that. It speaks to the visual and the character identity of the village and the direction that we're going. That now makes 3 tobacco sale locations in a community of less than 10,000 residents. It's ridiculous. Now, I realize I've not been here as long as some of us have, 30, 25 years, but I've a vested interest here with my family, and I don't want to be surrounded by a tobacco store. It's an entrance to a corridor that we need to have as our visual presentation to developers and even residents, the people that's potentially looking to move here. And now we have a third place where people can buy tobacco products. It's not enough that they have the Glenwood Lansing store, and then we have the gas station on Main Street that poses as a gas station, but it's really a tobacco sales. And then we have the one on Halsted now. So my other concern with that is that when I talked to trustees, they didn't know about it. So, and this was an issue I had when I was on the board. We would have new businesses come, and the trustees wouldn't even know about it. So I would urge you all that there should be a concern that when there are new business licenses issued, that it should be placed on the agenda and conversation for consideration should happen. There's absolutely no reason to have another business license for another tobacco sales store in this size of a community. It's just absolutely absurd. My last comment or concern rather would be, I want to thank you, Trustee Roll, for inciting the decision to look at alternatives as opposed to this lease. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I say that from personal experience because I leased the vehicle and it's a sales pitch. And I think that even if we had waited another week to give her an opportunity to come back with some research, that would have benefited this community and this board. Because a week from now, neither the fire department nor the police department will have those vehicles. So it wouldn't have cost us anything to allow her to come back with that information and to reconsider that to see if we had a more viable option. So in the future, I understand everybody wants to go home. I've sat here for 8 years. I get it. But we meet twice a month to handle the business of the community. Some meetings will be long, and it's not in a position for us to rush through it. Sometimes we're going to have to sit here. And the reality of it is, and I used to say it from my seat, if you want to go, leave. Get up and leave. The meeting of the business of the people will still happen. But to rush through that and not give her the opportunity to come back with some alternative decisions was immature on our part. So I think that moving forward, if there's an option to do that, you got a subject matter expert here that could have gave some type of advice. Even if it didn't work out, we at least exhausted the option. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, trustees.
Good evening.
It's what that young man just said is true. We don't need to be rushing because we don't meet all the time. Can you hear me now? Thank you. We don't need to be rushing because we only meet twice a month, and then y'all have a lot to discuss. There's been a lot on the table tonight, especially with the young lady right here. I'm always thinking about taking care of home. Charity start at home. You have somebody who, people always like to jump for the cheaper things first, and I think that what we're trying to do, trying to look at the dollar all the time, looking at the dollar do not always give you gold. You want the quality. You want quality. And I cahoots for that. I like that. My concern is that was brought up at the AMVETS meeting. I'm an AMVETS, also a commander for American Legion. There is two, be stated, veteran organization here. I don't know what he was talking about, but it's two. American Legion and AMVETS, and I'm part of both of them. I am the commander of American Legion, district-wide and division-wise. That means a whole south side of Chicago and all the way out here in 8th, on this area. My concern is, it was brought to my attention at a meeting, Mayor, that you were trying to host a veteran committee. I don't know why it wasn't on the committee report, but this has been going on for a couple of weeks at meetings. I've been out of town. But a veteran committee for Glenwood, I think that would be very lucrative for us, that we can bring a lot to the table here as a veteran committee. Veteran committee can help out different things, can bring finances in for different scholarships for kids and also for helping out the seniors and also working together as a community. I know that the other mayor used to have a veteran luncheon a couple of years ago. Are y'all going to do that again? Because that's right there, bring camaraderie back in the community. Okay. Also the 4th of July parade. That used to be great, but I know the old mayor was talking about trying to make it bigger, and then we can make it bigger, ideas. But myself, I'm going to share with the villages that I hosted 7 health fairs for veteran and resource centers throughout South Side and also suburbs. June the 12th, there's going to be one in Hazelcrest. Reason why I did not do one here because I cannot get the response back fast enough. I got all the VAs coming through. I got veteran organizations. I got the colleges coming through to help out for the veterans and for the community. This what we call in our organization camaraderie. We bring back, and then at this time when you have a war going on, we need to really come together for this. I survived 3 wars, and I'm telling you, that's not easy. When you're coming back from a war to another war to another war, these young men are going to need all the help for the community and their family when they come back. So I'm asking, I talked to JR, and I told him I would like to spearhead a veteran committee for this area. And I'm saying that because with my experiences and also with my connections I have to bring a lot out here, I would like to spearhead. It would just not just be veterans, it's also be people who have ideas to work with veterans, so we can help the youth, the seniors, and also the community. That's all I have right now. Thank you again for.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank my neighbors for all of their valid concerns. I agree with most of your valid concerns. Thank you all for sending out the water bill that told us that we're going to be billed monthly now and what to expect. So all of that information is on our bills. For those of us that may not read your mail because it's there, and thank you very much for that. What I really wanted to do, being a resident for 25 years here in Glenwood, is to thank this committee, thank our police chief, our fire chief, you, sir, Mr. Patton. You're doing good with what you were dealt, and I appreciate that. I can see the improvements. Rome wasn't built in a day. We're not going to turn this over in a day, and it's not going to be up to just you all. You all need help. You need help from the community. So my point is just to thank you for what you've done so far. Thank you for your leadership. I see where it's going. I can tell you, being on Cherry Drive, for the police presence that has shown up since last year, the difference in what I see in my neighborhood. And again, it's not going to happen overnight, but I thank you all for what you all do, what you continue to do for this community. And again, I thank you for considering all of the concerns that you received on tonight, because I know you're going to give us an update the next time we come to a meeting. So thank you all, and have a good night.
What was your name?
My name is Marquita Barnes. My address too?
We don't need
You
your
don't need my.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathy Paxton. I'm 30 Nugent Street, and I do have a couple of questions. The first one is to our police chief. Last Friday, there was a shooting on Main Street, and most of the police cars, there were like 9 of them that ended up in front of Gabe's. They were also on top of Gabe's looking for, I guess, bullets or whatever, but can you give us a report as far as what happened with the shooting?
Yes, last Friday, our officers responded to a report of shots fired from the area of Clark and Young Street. Our officers went over there, canvassed the area, found some shell casings, but what we did not find was any persons that were injured, shot, or victims, nor did we have any contact with anyone who was requesting assistance from the Glenwood Police Department claiming to be a victim or a witness to anything that happened. So our officers canvassed the area, they checked for persons in the surrounding area that may have been injured, found none. They also canvassed for property damage and found none. They also canvassed the area to see if there was any other evidence, and we video physical evidence of that nature. So at this point, it's an open investigation. The evidence will be submitted to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab for analysis and comparison to see if the shell casings are related to anything else or if we can identify them. But as of now, we have no witnesses, no victim, no offenders, no suspects. So that's where it stands right now. Should that change, it will change the direction of the investigation. But right now, we are relying solely on the physical evidence that we have collected that night. Again, no persons were injured, no property was reported damaged. So that's what circumstances are. We don't know. We don't have any cooperating persons.
I just got a text. There is something else that's happening with the games right now. It just did take someone away in ambulance. So they had that street blocked off. That's where the corridor where the fourth unit building is. That is still a lot of activity going on over there right now.
There was, geez. If for everybody that noticed the fire chief get up and leave in a hurry, there was a fire, an attic fire on Clark Street around the corner here. I'm waiting for an update from him myself, but that is probably what you're referring to.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I also want to address my concern also with the lawn care service. I've been here over 25 years, and I have seen Miss Elmore, even her father, who had the business before her, and they were considerate, they were kind. I see Miss Elmore go out after the workers to make sure that the work has been done and build a rapport with the community. And I think that a lot of that should be considered. She lives here, her workers also live here, and they support and they give a lot back to the community. So I think that needs to be considered also.
Thank you.
Good evening. The name is Murdoch, 1102 Wisconsin Street. I've been here for more than 25 minutes tonight. So I'm just trying to make it a little lighter, that's all. First and foremost, good evening, Mayor. I'd just like to ask Mr. Patton a couple of questions, if at all possible. When it came to the vehicles that you say you want to have the insurance on and the coverage, and you're saying you're paying over $18,000 a year for maintenance. I'm not really clear on where we are with people having vehicles, how far they should be able to drive the vehicles that they're using, because apparently they're using it for personal uses, other than just going to the grocery store. It seems to me if they're putting that kind of mileage on the vehicle, that they must be taking trips of some kind. It's apparent that if you're putting that kind of money into maintenance of that vehicle, they've got to be driving a lot of it. I mean, I take my vehicle out of town and I still put 12,000 miles and don't spend that kind of money in 5 years, okay, on one vehicle. So I'm just curious about that. So please keep that in mind. Second of all, I heard you mention the fact about the locks that you want to impose upon these different locations. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did I hear you say that you know of the people that want to put the locks on?
Yes, I'm familiar
Okay.
with the company.
But was there a bid
No,
offered on that or not?
the
But there
amount
was a
falls.
there was a selection on somebody that you knew confident in.
Yeah, the amount
I
falls
was just curious.
below
That's
the
all.
threshold.
Like we're in a court of law. That's what we're talking about. Lastly, like I said, I've only been here for a little bit over 25 minutes, not living in the area for that many years at all. However, I think that when Trustee Williamson brought up the proposition that this young lady has lived here, her assistants live here, they help her, I think all that should be taken into truly consideration. Because not only that if you take that out of her position, then she's losing some money that she's using to pay taxes with. Unlike some of these other businesses that are in the area that's gotten away with not paying taxes at all and still trying to get away with things. I don't want to bring up no old wounds, but I just feel that that's inappropriate not to let her be in a position to get the business based on the locksmith not getting a bid, based on he knows them, versus we know this young lady here, and I just have to keep that honestly. And lastly, I just want to know how much longer is it going to be before we get that brand new spanking fire engine? When is that coming? Not coming? Huh? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm still around, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, Shirley Portie, 521 Kenneth Court. Question on the parking ordinance for children or young adults returning from school, college, bringing their cars. Can we get passes for them?
You just call.
Just call? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to come back again. Here's a couple of things that I wanted to clarify. Number one, the Village of Glenwood has been unique and very gracious in handling a lot of their contractors, and I am one of them. I'm very surprised at what Trustee had not said. In 2023, at our last bid, there were, and I have the printout already. I will bring it the next time. I wanted to have it tonight. There were 2 bids for 2,000. There were a couple of bids in the 3,000 range. There was a couple of bids in the 4,000 range. They pretty much threw the 2,000 out. So the lowest bidder is not what Glenwood does. They take what is quality and the best worker. They consider a number of things, not just me, they consider a lot of things. And Elmore's Lawn Care, you know, living here, I care about the village, but I also had to prove myself. I had to work really, 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 really hard. So they threw 2,000 out because it's like, well, how can any lawn care cut the whole village for $2,000? I think you were one of them who pretty much laughed at it. We could go back to the minutes and check that out. Number one. Number two, Elmer's Lawn Care picks up a throng of paper at every single location. The residents can testify to that. They see me. I walk for my guys a lot of times, merely because I care about my equipment and they might run over stuff. So I prefer to walk even. We pick up at every location. At the park, when they get finished with football games, we're the ones who clean all of that up. When you ride down Halsted and you see all that garbage that's usually there, that is not Public Works. Public Works never picks up the garbage for us. They know we're gonna do it, they know we're required to do it, and so we do it. Now, the Public Works may go out there because they have nothing else to do and somebody gets on them and they'll walk, I've seen it happen, and they'll go pick up 2 pieces of paper at the park. I've seen it happen. So it's not Public Works, it's ours. And to address the point that Felicia brought up, so I know JR don't know certain things. I definitely know Marshall doesn't know certain things about what this lawn care does. You brought up cleanup. There's no reputable lawn care company going to make a bid for something this size and not have a spring cleanup. Residents even do that, or a fall cleanup. I have always, because the village has been gracious to me, I wanted to return that favor. So for 7+ years or more, I have always done the fall, trustees and mayor, I've done the fall cleanup. If you go out there right now and you look at each one of the locations, the parks, the parking lot of the parks, the tennis courts, I cleaned that up for no pay for 7+ years. That's a whole second job outside of cutting the grass. This is the very first time that Elmore's Lawn Care put on the proposal a fall cleanup. And I've done that because the village has been gracious enough to employ me, to hire me, to entrust my work, and they have definitely appreciated it. I've had the support of just about every mayor, just about all the trustees, and I can't even begin to tell you what kind of applause I would get from the residents. And if you're out there and you're looking, you would know. And those are the things that I wanted to add. That wasn't on my notes. I'm just responding to what I've heard, okay? I appreciate your time and thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lovey. I was just sitting here listening to Miss Elmore. I've been knowing her forever. And we tend to take care of other people before we take care of home. We always give other people more respect than we give our own. She's been paying taxes a long time. A lot of people getting paid in Glenwood and not doing anything. We see it every day. Our community is going down. Our community is dirty. Our community is really not what it used to be. And people are getting paid every day. Most of them don't even live in Glenwood. Most of them don't even care about Glenwood. And this lady who's been here forever, she cut my grass. Her father cut my grass. And you don't know what this man gonna do. He probably knows somebody okay? You investigate things. Don't just take people's words for things, because if we just always take people's words for things, we going down, okay? So we have to look, just like for the car, the leasing of the car, like he said, we should have gave it a little time, a little thought. Don't rush into things. We want Glenwood to be the best. We want Glenwood to be good. We want Glenwood to be an example. But we can't always be so trusting. We done gave so much money away to so many businesses. And so when the taxpayers ask for something, they don't get it. They don't get the respect. They don't get anything that they'll do. I sat here over the years and watched residents being so disrespectful. Now, what we need to do is come together. We need to come together as the community. We need to bring Glenwood back. For years, it's been neglected. So we got a lot of work to do in Glenwood. We got to love each other. We got to love our community. We got to hire all types of people in Glenwood. We shouldn't have, Glenwood is an ethnic, it's all different types. We look all different. So it should be all different people having jobs in Glenwood, okay? We all live here. So we need to give each other respect. We all need to come together and love and respect and bring Glenwood back to where somebody wants to live here. As they said, the tobacco companies, the big liquor store, the biggest thing Glenwood got is a liquor store. You know, that's so sad. I raised 3 children here. In Glenwood, I used to be proud to say I was from Glenwood. I didn't buy 1 house in Glenwood, I bought 2. Because my kids didn't want me to move from Glenwood. So I wanted a bigger house, so I had to buy a bigger house in Glenwood. I've been here 45 years, and I've saw it all. So a lot of these lies that are being told up here that can't be done, it stopped being done when it got, I must say it got black, okay? So the things we know that we've been around a long time, we know what can be. We know how Glenwood can look and what Glenwood can be. Just to know, we know. So don't let people come in here and tell you what can't be done. Ask some people that have been here a long time what can be done. Let's come together and love and respect and joy and bring our youth back. It makes me so sad that we don't invest in our youth. It makes me so sad that I love Glenwood. My 3 minutes is up. Okay, I'll finish next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay. With no other public comments, executive closed session. A motion to enter into an executive session pursuant to Section 2C11 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act to discuss possible, probable, and imminent litigations against or affecting the village. The basis for finding probable and litigation shall be recorded and entered into the minutes at the close of the meetings with no reason to convene.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Trustee Hadnot. Trustee Roll. Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming out. Have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your week. Hey, you. Love the hair.
I did, you know, if you sit on that chair, you can't see. You can't see.